Last time we met Dennis Rader, church leader, compliance officer, and part-time serial killer with a full-time need for attention. In part 2, the mask starts to slip and the letters return, the ego inflates, and the man who spent decades hiding decides to play tech support with the police. Because when you ask law enforcement, can you trace a floppy disk? And they say no, maybe you don't believe them. Now we're going to look into the attempted murder of Anna.
Prepare to journey into the macabre, where reality blurs with nightmares. This is the Paramurder Cast, where the unseen becomes the unforgettable, and your nightmares find a voice. Let the horrors begin.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 12.
Part 2.
Episode 12. Part 2.
The attempted murder of Anna Williams.
Yeah, that's where we left off last time. Short little recap of where we left off last time. We ended right with the "Oh, Death to Nancy" poem.
And now we're on the "Oh, Anna" note.
Yeah.
And who tried to kill these people?
Mr. Dennis Rader, a.k.a. BTK.
The poet of Wichita.
The Wichita hangman.
Psychic psychotic.
The Sparky Master himself. So
Don't fucking
Sparky
start
big
with
time.
Sparky.
it's going to be a t-shirt
Oh,
on
now
the store.
you got it in my head.
Sparky Big Time. It's going to be a t-shirt on the store. Paramurder Cast.
You gotta
.com.
say Sparky
Hashtag-
big time. You can't just say
Hashtag
Sparky.
Big Time.
It's 100% going to be a shirt. I'm working on that with Amanda like as soon as this is done. It has to be there.
Can there be an image of like an electrical outlet
Yes.
with sparks coming off of it?
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And like just a finger?
There's going to be something with Sparky Big Time. We're going to make a way to make splooge. Put it
An
on.
electrical
Do,
splooge.
Oh, what's that bondage thing? I can't remember the name of it, but with jumper cables instead.
Oh, on the nipples?
No, like what? I guess it's professional bondage.
Oh,
Some Japanese
BD
name.
Oh, no, not BDSM. No, you're going to have to Google.
The old Google machine. I'm sure this is the most professional intro ever. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump in and just do the housekeeping real quick then.
Shibari.
Shibari, there
I
you
never-
go.
Shibari bondage, but with jumper cables instead of rope.
We're going to have to look that up or put like a picture of that.
We'll figure it out, but we'll make a dope ass t-shirt.
Email me that.
And for the housekeeping real quick, if you're listening, thank you so much. And can you please go to paramurdercast.com, check out the store. We are slowly adding stuff there. Coming soon, apparently is going to be literally coming soon. Sparky Big Time t-shirt for the Paramurder Cast. But we are also going to suggest that while you're there, please check out the Facebook. All the links are on there. Or you can also find us at facebook.com, and it is going to be the PM Cast. So THEPM Cast. If you like the show, please follow, rate, and comment on your favorite podcast platform. That'll help us out a ton. So, and then without further ado, let's go ahead and get right back into where we left off. We left off the attempted murder of Anna Williams, and then he left her pretty creepy ass note on her doorstep.
Rader's obsession wasn't limited to successful attacks. He had also intended to kill Anna Williams, age 63, whom he dubbed Project Pegasus. He became absolutely livid when she unexpectedly returned home late from visiting friends on the night he was waiting for her inside her home in April 1979. Months later, in June 1979, he left a letter outside her residence that read, "Oh, Anna, why didn't you appear?" Signed, BTK. The envelope also contained a drawing of a nude-bound woman and items stolen from her home during a previous burglary. This communication confirmed to detectives' private suspicions that the burglary was linked to BTK.
Oh, Anna poem. Oh, Anna, why didn't you appear? 'Twas perfect plan of deviant pleasure so bold on that spring night. My inner feeling hot with propension of the new awakening season, warm, wet with inner fear and rapture, my pleasure of entanglement, like new vines at night. Oh, Anna, why didn't you appear? Drop of fear fresh, spring rain would roll down from your nakedness to scent to lofty fever that burns within. In that small world of longing, fear, rapture, and desperation, the game we play, fall on devil ears. Fantasies spring forth, mounts to storm fury, then winter, clam at the end. Oh, Anna, why didn't you appear? Alone, now in another time span, I lay with sweet enrapture garments across most private thought, bed of spring moist grass, clean before the sun, enslaved with control, warm wind scenting the air. I can't.
That dude is fucking creepy.
It's all over the place.
It is all over the place. And he has a bunch of, he did make a ton of typos because I think he typed a lot on a typewriter. So clam instead of calm.
Clam?
Yep. Yeah. I looked it up. He did put clam instead
Bring
of
me your
calm.
clam, Anna.
All right. That's fucking terrible.
Maybe it wasn't a typo. Maybe he meant
Maybe
clam.
he meant clam. I don't know. Would that be an olden time word?
Bring
for
me your
vagina?
wet clam, Anna.
Probably.
Winter clam.
I mean, he did use a lot of stuff like moist in there.
He did.
I pre-apologize
down
to
from
any
your
listener who
nakedness.
has that aggravation with the word moist, but he used it. So
It's so bad.
And Storm Fury.
and
Sparky-
Storm Fury.
Sparky Big Time. Right there.
Big time.
It is, man. Hey, he does a lot of callbacks. Like he even picked the floppy disk coming up. He picked that. It was purple. He picked that due to something like
What, the purple of the disc?
yeah, he picked like a purple floppy disk on purpose when it had something to do with like royalty and something else. So he tries to like tie stuff together
Put
and be
meaning to
real.
things
Yeah,
and be
he
like,
wants meaning to
This
it.
is my lore.
So CJ's
This is my lord.
It is basically like he's hoping to get on a Matt Pat show there, Game Theorist.
yeah, game theorist. So CJ's probably right. To Storm's Fury, it's probably something to do with Sparky Big Times or something. Knowing this guy, he's that big of a douchebag.
And he's like, yeah, he's
The
making
winter
up meaning.
clam at the end. Oh, Anna.
Oh, Anna.
Bro, you know when she picked
Queen
that up
before
and
the
read
sun.
that? Oh my god, that's got to be enough to make like
She
any
probably
female just
literally just like,
projectile
ugh.
vomit. Yeah, shudder.
And it said there were personal items of hers. I'm guessing stolen panties that he wore and gave back to her.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. Oh, that's gross.
Silky
Yeah.
ones.
He
He
did
Sparky
this a lot
big
to
timed into
himself.
those and then gave them back.
Yeah, like if we
Why are
didn't-
these standing straight up?
They
Lots of
stand
starch.
on their own.
Lots of starch.
Yeah, I didn't really go over it just because it's already fucking disturbing enough, and I didn't want to talk about it. But it's he did this to himself a lot. Like he took a lot of pictures of himself bound. He didn't just do it to other
Like
women.
Ed
He'd like,
Gein
yeah, he'd like doing it to himself.
with the rope around his neck on the door.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, from the show.
The show.
Yeah.
dude, he has pictures on there, and some of his pictures, I'm like, how the fuck do you get back out?
That's a good question.
Like, what do you mean? Who get back out?
Like, how does he bind himself?
I'm
in
gonna
it?
put the pictures on the website. I'm gonna have to blur it because I don't want to put his dick all over my website. Because I mean, there's just straight pictures of his dick hanging out and everything. He
Do
Dennis
it.
Rader.
Oh really?
Put his dick out.
I'm not putting his dick on my
You were talking about
website.
Ed Gein. I was like, he never did that.
No.
Where are these pictures?
There, you can go find them. All you have to do is look at like Murderpedia. But there's tons of pictures of him binding himself. But he got like some intricate bindings going on to where I believe he did tell the lady that wrote the book about him. I'm sorry I referenced this book like 3 times and I can't remember the name of it. I will put it in the show recap notes. She did the most in-depth detail interviews with Dennis Rader. But
Do you remember her name?
No, I'm gonna have to go look. She makes one of the most famous books about him. But she goes over it in the book that he did say that he had a couple of times he did it where he almost like was afraid he couldn't get back out of it, out of his own bindings. I mean, he dug holes, dude, put himself in ditches. He has pictures of himself in ditches,
How is he
bound, gagged, and wrapped in plastic wrap and everything.
Is it the Confession of a Serial Killer?
It might be.
By Catherine Ramsland?
I think it is Catherine, yes. I think it is Catherine.
Did you find a photo?
Oh, man. Yeah.
Not of his dick.
But I mean,
But of him bound,
But he's
right?
dressed in drag and bound himself to a chair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he has some bad ones, dude, where he's like down in...
was he a Boy Scout? Did he like obsess over them making knots one day and he couldn't do it? And now he's just like, I gotta.
I actually didn't check to see if he himself was a Boy Scout. I know he volunteered for his kids for Eagle Scout. I don't know if he himself was a Boy Scout. That's a detail that will be lacking because I'm not sure about that answer.
I would assume he was.
I would assume because he's I don't want to misspeak
We're
on
about
it because
to
I don't
ask.
know other religions super well, but aren't Lutheran churches really popular for Boy Scout?
I just asked co-pilot if Dennis Rader was a Boy Scout. Yes, he was involved with the Boy Scouts, not just a former scout, but later as a leader of a local Boy Scout troop.
Okay, so he was a Boy Scout. All right, well, we're not lacking on that detail then. You heard it here, folks.
I mean, he was also in the military.
Yeah, he was in the military. He got a medal for good conduct in the military.
He did.
Which is super
Well,
weird.
it's because he followed rules.
Yeah,
He was a
He
strict
compartmentalized.
rule follower
that's
and
true.
rule enforcer.
Grass is too long, ma'am.
He
I'm
earned
gonna
the
have to
Eagle
kill ya.
Scout rank as a young man.
Oh, so he was
Eagle.
an Eagle Scout. Okay.
It's the highest rank achievable in the Boy Scouts of America program.
Well, speaking on that note, let's see what he used his Eagle Scout skills for in the next murder of Marine Hedge. And that happened on April 27th, 1985.
On April 27th, 1985, Dennis Rader ended years of silence by murdering his 53-year-old neighbor, Marine Hedge. After manually strangling her in her own home, he placed her body in the trunk of her car and drove to Christ Lutheran Church, where he served as council president. In a profound act of sacrilege, Rader took Marine Hedge's body inside the church. However, even in this act of extreme desecration, he demonstrated a warped sense of boundaries. He positioned her naked corpse throughout the interior of the church, but deliberately avoided the altar area. This conscious avoidance of the altar is a revealing detail. It suggests a flicker of residual, perhaps superstitious, respect for what he perceived as the most sacred part of the church, even as he defiled the rest of the building with his horrific acts. He photographed her body in various poses with a Polaroid camera, creating trophies for his necrophilic fantasies, all while steering clear of the altar. Only after this ritual inside the church did he return her body to the car trunk, drive to a roadside ditch on 53rd Street, and conceal her beneath brush. He then returned home to erase evidence. This nuance, defiling the church while avoiding the altar, perfectly encapsulates Rader's compartmentalized psyche. He could commit the ultimate violation of a sacred space, yet still adhere to a twisted internal rule that preserved a line he would not cross. It highlights a conflict between his monstrous urges and a residual, albeit distorted, acknowledgement of higher order, all while maintaining his facade as a devout church leader. This detail remained a secret known only to him until his 2005 confession, adding another layer of incomprehensible hypocrisy to his crimes.
It makes no sense to take her body inside the church and then avoid the altar. I mean, I guess to him, it's like super, I don't know,
I'm going to
super
photograph her body, but
terrible. He took her in there and covered the windows with garbage bags and then took pictures of her all around it and then removed the garbage bags after he took her back out. But yeah, not the altar.
And right after he was done and everything, he would probably go to work and be like, I did that.
Oh, yeah, you know he did.
And definitely probably gave him the biggest boner ever.
Yeah.
100%.
Oh, those pictures
knowing
were-
that he did that and other people didn't
Yeah,
as they're
he's-
in that location.
Dennis Rader never got off. He's Sparky big time.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. He's Sparky
He's
big time.
standing at the altar
Yes.
because it would perfectly hide his tiny boner.
I wonder if he's Sparky big timed in the church
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you know,
he
just
did.
being a family guy in the church or
Ew.
whatever. Like, nobody's there. And he's like,
You know what? We
No
make
dead
fun of
women
it.
at the altar. Only Sparky Big
Well,
Time
think
Keith.
about that. Every time he was in that church afterwards, he was thinking about what he did there.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was feet away
Had
from it.
to,
Feet away from
and I
it.
guarantee you it probably brought him joy.
Yeah, it did.
If you go to
It
that
turned him
Lutheran
on.
church, you can take a black light to it.
Yeah.
Wherever his office was, if he had one, it was probably sticky.
Yeah, it turned him on to be in that church every time after that.
I know we make fun of it, the fact that he said Sparky Big Time.
But it's disgusting.
Well, here's my thing. The reason I get really into true crime is I'm super interested in what twists a human's mind to do some of the things that these people do, right? And at the end of the day, what wires have to get crossed to where your main sense of sexual gratification is actually strangling somebody to death? You know what I mean? Like, what wires have to get twisted in there for that to become your thing, your go-to sexual gratification?
Well, what we found out is the only thing I saw that really was negative a whole lot was his parents just ignored him.
Yeah.
Like, is that what it really?
He took the blow to the head, right?
Oh,
and we're going to talk about that over tons of cases moving forward. There are a ton of killers to where they all point to that hit in the head. The kid that played in Sons of Anarchy, Half Sack.
Yeah.
What was
Oh,
his
yeah.
name?
Oh, God. He's the one that died and he killed himself. Oh, sorry. He's the one that killed himself.
Yeah, he murdered somebody then killed himself. He killed there's like a artist type Airbnb where they went and stayed, and she allowed you to like rent a room and work on your writing or your movie scripts and stuff, and he was staying with a lady there, and he ended up murdering her and the cat and then killed himself. But that's exactly what they attribute it to him as well. He got in a motorcycle accident and hit his head. And his mom and dad both said that prior to that, he was one of the nicest people you'd ever meet. And then after the blow to the head, it messed him up.
Something changed.
Yeah. They begged for psychiatrists and for doctors and for everybody to like reevaluate him. It seems to be a common factor that they believe if you take a hard enough hit to the head, that it can
Alter
cause
your
you to,
psyche.
yeah, it can kind of alter how you think and who you are.
That's
So,
interesting to think about.
Let that be a warning.
yeah, if you go back,
If you drop your kids as a baby and they hit their head, you
Well,
might
if
as well
you
just drop them off a
Look
cliff.
at all the football players. All the football players who have killed people.
Well, look at all the wrestlers that have died by suicide.
Yeah.
I mean,
CJ said, I dropped my kid. Well, this one's ruined. Time to make another one.
Yep. Try
Wow.
again.
But it is true. CTE,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? NFL players and people coming out that have CTE, they kill themselves. They hurt other people. They're violent. I mean, you don't even have to put the murder in there. There's a ton of NFL players that we know got diagnosed with CTE later, but during that time, they were, hyper violent, strangling or hurting their ex-spouses and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it's definitely weird, but it's like, does that blow, how much does that blow to the head happen? Because what's the dormant part of your brain that doctors try to look at? The warrior gene or something? Is it the warrior gene or which one is it?
I'm not too sure.
I've never heard of it.
You think that's what happened to OJ?
It could be. He was innocent. The glove didn't fit.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, it's the MAOA gene, which they also refer to as the warrior gene. They can actually scan your brain and tell if you have the warrior gene present or if it's active. And then they say if that's active, you're more prone to aggression and murder. That's a common factor among serial killers and or people who just have a heavy diagnosis of sociopathy or psychopathy. So I'm curious to see if they try to link more towards people taking that blow to the head. And because you know how taking an extreme hit to the head, it can activate or deactivate parts of your brain. So I'm curious to see if they try to say more moving towards the future, if that hit to the head helps activate like the warrior gene.
And I just read here, this gene is more likely to affect men because it is located on the X chromosome, and men have only one copy, while women have 2 copies of that gene.
Huh.
It's crazy. I didn't know that.
I want to make a joke there, but it's not really appropriate.
On September 16th, 1986, Dennis Rader targeted 28-year-old Vicki Wegerle in her Wichita home, demonstrating his evolving methods and adaptive cunning. Posing as a telephone repairman, he arrived with a briefcase that served as a prop for his facade. Using manipulative charm, he fabricated a story about needing to check the phone lines to gain entry, his calm demeanor blending voyeuristic anticipation with a sense of entitlement. Maintaining the charade, Rader pretended to inspect the premises while waiting for Vicki to become distracted. He then revealed his pistol, directing her to the bedroom in a sudden shift of deception to overt control. His sociopathic smoothness masked the predatory drive to prolong the captive drama for his gratification. Though visibly shaken, Vicki initially complied, but when Rader moved to bind her in her bedroom, she resisted fiercely, fighting for her life. This defiance ignited his brittle ego, which was intolerant of any challenge to his control. Abandoning elaborate restraint, he overpowered her with a nylon stocking, strangling her manually. Her struggles during the attack fueled his violent urges, though he later expressed uncertainty about whether the strangulation was immediately fatal. After subduing her, Rader methodically rearranged her clothing and took 3 Polaroid photographs of her body. These images served as visual trophies to satisfy his necrophilic impulses and desire for postmortem control. The scene descended into chaos as external pressures mounted. Her husband's impending return, barking dogs, and open doors and windows created a disruptive environment that shattered Rader's illusion of perfect control. Alarmed, he abandoned his ritualistic cleanup, hastily gathering his items into the briefcase, rifling through her purse for car keys, and escaping in her vehicle. This hurried retreat revealed the impulsiveness beneath his carefully constructed veneer of omnipotence. Vicki Wegerle's murder initially remained unconnected to the BTK series, lost in the fog of his long-term spree. The case showcased Rader's adaptive tactics, using disguises and varying his escape methods to evade detection. His compartmentalized psyche continued to shield his family life and church activities from his violent urges. The killing added another layer to the terror haunting Wichita, with Rader's narcissistic need for validation eventually driving him to resume taunting police, until the accumulated evidence finally led to his arrest in 2005, exposing the complex labyrinth of secrecy and perverse satification that had fueled his decades-long reign of violence.
Oh, we're coming to a close on him, man. He only murders one more person after this. And then we get into this
That we know of.
weird, that we know of. That's very true. It's very true. They're still actually actively looking at him for other murders. But at least as much as we know of, he murders Dolores Davis next. And then that's when he can't help himself. He goes quiet for quite a long time. Then he comes back and can't help himself. But I say, just because we're on part 2, we're trying to get everybody the information they seek. Let's go ahead and move right on through to the murder of Dolores Davis.
4.5 years later, on January 19th, 1991, Dennis Rader carried out his 10th and final known murder, targeting 62-year-old Dolores E. Davis. After strangling her with pantyhose in her Park City home, he placed her body in the trunk of her car and drove to a bridge for disposal. However, his ritual was not yet complete. Rader returned to the bridge after initially leaving, placing a mask over Dolores Davis's face, taking photographs of her remains. This act was a calculated part of his trophy-gathering ritual, allowing him to capture images that would enable him to revisit and relive the crime for his own deviant satisfaction. These photographs served as enduring tokens of his control and dominance over his victim. Only after taking these pictures did he finalize the disposal. He discarded her keys on the roof of her vehicle before departing on foot, returning to his everyday life with chilling compartmentalization. This final murder underscored Rader's elaborate post-mortem rituals and his obsessive need to document his crimes. The addition of the mask and photography reveals the calculated, ceremonial nature of his violence, transforming murder into a curated personal archive of power. It was this very need to document, preserve, and eventually boast about his crimes that would, years later, lead to his capture in 2005 when he could no longer resist engaging in taunting communication with the authorities. His confession laid bare not just the killings, but the depth of his ritualistic obsession with possessing and controlling his victims, even after their deaths.
Dennis cannot help himself. Yeah, both of these last two murders took place actually while he was with the Boy Scouts as well. He took them out on trips, and then he would sneak away saying he had a headache, and then go and kill somebody and come back.
Hey guys, I got a headache. I'll be gone for 4 hours.
I think it's weird how he can just compartmentalize being at the camp with his kid and
go from, having fun with the kid and then I got to go do something.
Here to teach you badges.
Yeah, and here to get, so you can get your stuff and learn how to be a man growing up. And
he's an overactor too, right? Yeah. So when he snuck away to murder, I think it was Dolores Davis, but he went to a bowling alley, and then
he's very theatrical.
Yeah, he went in and got a beer, and then he took a drink and just gargled around his mouth and spit it out. And then he took some of the beer and put it on his hand and splashed it around his neck and clothes. And then he called a taxi cab and pretended to slur. That way they thought they were taking a drunk man home. And then he had him drop him off a block from his house because Dolores lived literally just a few houses down from him. So he killed his neighbor. And it was just, she waved at him. That was it. That's the only reason he ended up killing her. She walked out to her car and waved at him.
Wow, he was like, oh, she wants it.
Yep, that's pretty much it. She waved and she went on to the list as a project.
It's like the stalkers who girls smile at. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh God, yeah, she needs it.
Someone just comes up and says, hey, sir, what can I get for you? And he's like, oh.
Yep.
I think she likes me.
Yeah.
And this is where Dennis Rader could have most likely got away with every crime that he committed at this point. Because in 1991, all the way up into 2003, he goes completely off the map. He steps away from the public light. Yeah. And he has, for all accounts, no problems. And like I said at the beginning of part 1, this is when he became a compliance officer. And it kind of fed that drive he needed for control. And he goes quiet during that. So let's take a look at what we know so far about his quiet years from 1991 to 2003.
From 1991 to 2003, Rader entered his public quiet years. There was no new killings, but his compulsion simmered beneath his veneer of normalcy. He channeled his drives into preserving his project files, collections of photographs, news clippings, and souvenirs. He served as a compliance officer in Park City, where neighbors recalled him as overzealous, measuring grass lengths with a tape measure and allegedly killing a neighbor's dog for no reason. Several single women he stalked filed restraining orders against him. He served on the Sedgwick County Animal Control Advisory Board and was elected president of the Christ Lutheran Church Council in January 2005. During this time, he would take pictures of himself cross-dressing and bound in women's clothing, later admitting he was pretending to be his victims. This period unveiled the core of his brittleness. Beneath his illusions of omnipotence lay an insecure core dependent on validation, a need that would soon propel him toward reckless communication.
Yeah, so now starts his downfall of communications here. This is where he went way off the rails, man. And it was all sparked by a lawyer that actually wanted to write a book about him.
Turn of BTK came back 2004 to 2005. He'd been quiet for years, but the BTK story didn't die. A Wichita lawyer, Robert Beatty, pushed to revive public interest. Researching a book and prodding memory of a case many assumed had ended, the Wichita Eagle ran an article for the 30th anniversary of the Ontario murders in January 2004, and the online crime and justice message boards lit up again. That publicity and the thought that someone else might tell the story that was his accelerated Dennis Rader's timetable. Within months, he began to stage a return, not as a single act, but as a choreographed campaign of letters, packages, postcards, phone calls, and physical props designed to bait the media and taunt investigators.
It was that initial writing that sparked him on March 17th, 2004, to write the Bill Thomas Kilman letters to the Wichita Eagle. He mailed an envelope to the Wichita Eagle under the alias Bill Thomas Kilman. Inside were 3 photocopied Polaroids of Vicki Wegerle and the dying moments he had photographed in 1986, a photocopy of her missing driver's license. He signed the submission with the BTK symbol he had used in the 1970s. The Eagle forwarded the package to the FBI. The Bureau confirmed the material was authentic BTK communications. The photocopies forced Wichita police to officially tie Wegerle's 1986 slaying to BTK and re-energize the old investigations.
The KAKE word puzzle on May 5th, he sent a different kind of provocation to KAKE TV, the Wichita ABC affiliate, a lengthy word puzzle, columns of letters and a few numbers mixed into the grid. The FBI again authenticated the submission by its signature markers, but the puzzle itself resisted easy interpretation. It read like a riddle, offered to taunt and engage, a puzzle with no clear key that nonetheless proved a living author wanted attention.
On June 9th, he left the package taped to a stop sign at First and Kansas. Inside was a disturbing assortment: a letter describing the Otero family murders in grisly detail, a sketch of a nude, bound woman hanging by a rope, labeled "The Sexual Thrill Is My Bill," and a chapter list entitled "The BTK Story" that mimicked an online crime library article chapter list, Chapter 1, A Serial Killer is Born. The package also included a claim that he had engineered the recent death of 19-year-old Jake Allen of Argonia, that Allen had been lured to die on railroad tracks via a series of chats. Investigators later found no evidence of such chats and treated the Jake Allen assertion as a hoax. Allen's death remains a suicide in the record. Police, mindful that publicity could provoke further crimes, withheld many details of these mid-year items from the public.
On July 17th, a package marked BTK was left in a downtown Wichita Public Library book return. It contained a chilling note. He'd, quote-unquote, spotted a female that I think lives alone and or is a spotted latchkey kid, detailed how he had to condition himself, and mused that fall or winter would be just about right for the hit. Got to do it this year or next. Time is running out for me. The tone was practical and urgent, a predator scheduling himself, confessing to age and diminished faculties, but insisting he still intended to act.
It was then on October 22nd, a UPS worker collected a manila envelope from the Omni Center's UPS drop box near 2nd and Kansas and found a collage of macabre cards and images glued to them. A bound woman screaming, collages of children with bindings drawn across faces and bodies, and one card with a poem titled Death to Louder, a direct reference to Lieutenant Ken Louder, the BTK lead investigator. The envelope also contained what the sender labeled his autobiography. Biographical claims: born 1939, father died in the war, mother who dated a railroad detective, a fascination with railroad living, meant to steer investigators towards false leads. Most of the biographical claims were deliberately misleading attempts to waste police time. Detectives, following FBI guidance, released parts of this material to the public only after careful deliberation. The Bureau's strategy was to keep the killer talking rather than publicly anger him into further violence.
December 21st, 2004, Under enormous public pressure, the Wichita police executed an unrelated warrant on the home of Roger Valadez, who lived within sight of railroad tracks and was briefly considered a suspect. He was held on a minor warrant. DNA quickly cleared him. The department then launched a far larger operation. Investigators collected about 1,300 DNA swabs from men tied to the investigation as part of an escalating forensic dragnet.
On December 14th, a passerby in Murdoch Park picked up a small plastic-wrapped package leaning against a tree. Inside was a PJ doll with a plastic bag tied over its head, hands bound behind its back, and feet bound together. Attached to the doll's feet was a real driver's license belonging to Nancy Fox, a woman BTK had murdered in December 1977. The man notified KAKE, which photographed the contents and alerted police, but withheld broadcast of the images to minimize the risk of provoking a further attack. The inclusion of Nancy Fox's license was unmistakable proof that the sender had access, or claimed access, to victim items and wanted to prove authenticity without giving away investigative advantage.
On January 1st, Rader assumed the presidency of the Christ Lutheran Church Council in Wichita, the culmination of a local community role he had quietly maintained even as he revived his monstrous public persona.
On January 8th, he left a Special K cereal box marked BTK and Bomb in the bed of a Home Depot employee's pickup. The employee mistook it for trash and put it in a household trash can. His wife later covered it with a pillow, keeping it intact by accident. When the man realized the box's significance, he retrieved it and turned it over to authorities. Police reviewed parking lot surveillance for January 8th and glimpsed a blurry figure and a black vehicle, a Jeep Cherokee, that matched the wheelbase measurements of the vehicle in the tape. The image was grainy, but the surveillance gave investigators their first moving glimpse in the new campaign.
A later recovered box listed PJs, projects, or intended victims he'd been watching and contained further misleading claims. A fabricated description of living in a 3-story Wichita house with an elevator and a bomb in the basement. Among the more telling moves, Rader asked detectives a technical question in print. If he put his writings onto a computer disk, could it be traced? He demanded an answer be posted in a Wichita Eagle classified ad under a code name Rex. Police and the FBI handled that request as a bargaining chip. They answered in code in the paper to keep the correspondence going and to avoid antagonizing him.
On January 25th, investigators, after a tip originating from one of his postcards that used the Otero house as a return address, found a weathered Post Toasties box propped against a road sign on a remote, unpaved stretch of North Seneca. The box had a brick on top to weigh it down and showed exposure to the elements. KAKE videotaped the box and notified police without touching it. Inside the Post Toasties box was another doll, this one rigged with a rope around its neck and tied to a plumbing fixture, a staged simulacrum of Josephine Otero's hanging in the Otero basement in 1974. The box sealed the theatrical pattern, graphic props, historical referencing, and careful choreography intended to provoke both media attention and investigative effort.
One of the postcards that preceded the Post Toasties find was sent to Cake, K-A-K-E, and used the return address of the Otero home. Another used a bogus return name S. Killett and referenced the earlier Home Depot box. The responding investigators placed an ad in the Wichita Eagle classified section using the pre-agreed code. Rader's requested reply. Rex, it will be okay. Arrived in the paper's classified column, a quiet coded confirmation that police had decided to keep him communicating.
On February 3rd, another postcard arrived at KAKE, signed with the playful return name Happy Cakeman, a reference to Cake's own history. The card thanked the news team for finding drops number 7 and number 8, made casual mention of staff colds and business issues, and referenced a test run soon. He asked the WPD use the agreed verification codes when they responded and suggested KTV PC codes and letters for verification. The postcard was both banal and chilling. Small domestic touches wrapped around the machinery of a predator's logistical planning.
On February 16th, a package addressed to KSAS TV, the Fox affiliate in Wichita, contained 3 persuasive items: a letter, a piece of jewelry, and a purple floppy diskette labeled Test Floppy for WPD Review. Detectives immediately sent the disk to forensic analysis. Analysts found traces of software tied to Christ Lutheran Church and discovered user metadata containing the name Dennis. That digital signature was Rader's fatal slip. He had reused a disk he'd previously used for church business and, believing he had erased it, failed to remove the embedded identifiers. From metadata to surveillance to DNA, the hunt tightens. A quick internet check on the church name brought up a current listing named Dennis Rader as the church president. The detectives who had been quietly watching a Park City address spotted a black Jeep Cherokee in the driveway. The Jeep matched the wheelbase measurements from the Home Depot surveillance. Investigators then obtained a familial DNA sample via subpoena, a medical record sample of Rader's daughter, and that familial link matched DNA recovered from seminal stains at BTK crime scenes. When the digital trail, the surveillance match, and the DNA evidence aligned, the case moved from suspicion to imminent arrest.
On February 25th, during a day he expected to go home for lunch, Dennis Lynn Rader noticed he was surrounded by police. He surrendered without incident and was handcuffed into a patrol car. Once inside the vehicle, he looked at Lieutenant Ken Lauder and said, "Hello, Mr. Lauder." Lauder answered, "Hello, Mr. Rader." That courteous exchange marked the end of the staged campaign and the beginning of a full confession and prosecution. Rader later admitted authorship of the 2004-2005 letters, postcards, packages, the disc, and many other notes and poems, and detailed how he had staged items and manipulated the media for decades.
Rader was charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. On June 27, 2005, he pleaded guilty, avoiding a trial, in a chilling, matter-of-fact monologue. He described the murders, which he referred to as projects, in horrifying detail without apology. At his sentencing on August 18th, after victims' families gave statements, Rader delivered a rambling 30-minute apology that the prosecutor likened to an Academy Award acceptance speech, showcasing his complete lack of understanding of emotional language. He was sentenced to 10 consecutive life sentences with a minimum of 175 years. He was moved to the El Dorado Correctional Facility, where he remains in solitary confinement for his protection. A psychologist hired by his defense diagnosed him with narcissistic, obsessive-compulsive, and antisocial personality disorders. Noting his grandiosity, pathological need for attention, rigid obsession with order, and complete lack of empathy. In the aftermath, his wife, Paula, was granted an emergency divorce. His daughter, Carrie Rawson, has since written a book about her experience, A Serial Killer's Daughter, and has spoken about the struggle to reconcile her normal childhood with the truth about her father. She has reported that he is now rotting and in a wheelchair in prison. In 2024, she revealed excerpts from his journal indicating he had sexually abused her as a child. While Rader has not been conclusively linked to any other murders, investigators into cold cases continue, including the 1976 appearance of Cynthia Dawn Kinney in Oklahoma, which authorities are examining based on potential connections to Rader's travels and writings. So the story finds its end. A cell, a diagnosis, a family broken by the truth. But the true horror of BTK doesn't lie in the gruesome details. It lives in the unsettling reality that his level of depravity was hidden behind a facade so mundane, so boringly average, that it was completely invisible.
For 31 years, Dennis Rader mastered a horrifying duality: the man who led church service and the monster who orchestrated torture. He found divinity in ritual and purpose in predation. His every action a testament to the human capacity for compartmentalization. His story forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth, that the most ordinary face can hide the most extraordinary evil, and the most terrifying monsters aren't the ones that hide in the shadows, but the ones who stand in plain sight, smiling back at us from the pews.
And that's how Dennis Rader, Cub Scout leader, church president, and part-time serial killer got caught by asking the cops for tech support. He bound, he tortured, he killed, but in the end, he emailed. If you liked the series, subscribe to Paramurdercast, where we dig into the dark corners of true crime and occasionally roast the criminals who thought they were smarter than the floppy disk. You can also follow us at the PM Cast on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Also, the PM Cast at TikTok. Thank you for listening, and catch us next time.
Thanks for tuning in. We hope you join us again. Until then, may your nights be restless and your dreams haunted. And beware the things that go bump in the night.